So here we go. I got a new thing I'm wanting to try here. I got Original Me, also known as N. Here you can see his picture a little bit on the screen. There, it's small, but you can see him playing guitar at a bluegrass concert. And so what we're going to do is I just want to bring a voice to people throughout the community of all different levels, and I'll be sharing my own interview after probably a few days after N does, because I want to go ahead and share my story as well. But I'm looking forward to hearing what N has to say about his story, and I'm hoping you guys are as well. And when you see him out there, you'll know a little bit about what his story is whenever you're playing. So, again, N, would you what are your account names for Genteki and probably Slack? And well, I guess we know Slack, and if you're on Discord or not, what can people see you by out there?
So it's almost always Original Me, which is an anagram of my real name. Sometimes you'll see me as Agile Miner, which is also an anagram if someone else has taken Original Me.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it'll be Original Me.
Very nice. How long did it take you to put together those anagrams?
These are some friends of mine came up with them in university, and they were really into anagrams for a while. So I know pretty much all the anagrams of my name and my friends' names from back in the day.
That's pretty cool because I don't know probably hardly a single anagram. So, all right. So, go ahead, just share your story. What got you into Netrunner? What your journey's been like? How long you been playing? Things like that. Whatever you want to share.
Sure. So I've been playing Netrunner since the Android Netrunner, the Fantasy Flight version, came out in around in 2012, pretty close to when it originally came out. I was just getting into board games at that point, playing with some friends, and just saw it on the shelf, and it looked pretty interesting. And then at that point, actually, none of my other friends were into collectible card games. They just wanted to play board games. So I really ended up just playing mainly with my wife. And we actually played for many years just the core set, and she actually wasn't into deck building. So I've actually probably played the fixed decks in the original core of Android Netrunner more than any other person I know of. It. I'm really good at those fixed core decks, which are really terrible decks.
Yeah. Very nice. We'll have to
And
play those
then,
sometime. Try them
yeah,
out.
yeah. And then maybe 2016 or 2017, I discovered some in the online community and started playing in cafes or game stores here in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area, so Oakland, Berkeley. And then I started catching up on the packs that I'd missed, and getting into the competitive play and playing a little bit on Genteki, and joined Slack. And since then, other than this whole COVID stuff, I usually go to maybe one game night kit a season, a game night kit set, and then all the local regionals. And then I played in the nationals, which is here in San Francisco this year as well. And I'm a very middle table player. I think if I finish above 50% in a tournament, I'm pretty happy. Um,
Yeah, that's actually the goal. That's where I'm trying to get to, is just being a middle tiered player, and that's kind of like the immediate goal I've kind of set for myself. So that's pretty cool. Um, and so, how many games would you say you've played? I know you said just on the estimate. I know you said the most of them were core set. How many would you say you've played, kind of expanding out from the core set and all, and digging in to be that middle tier player?
Boy, I mean, when I was playing a lot, kind of before not rotation, before FFG ended the game, probably, this is a lot for me. I'm sure there are people play a lot more, but I was probably playing 10 to 20 games a week. So what is that? That's 500 games a year. So probably a couple thousand games, I guess,
Wow.
something like that.
Yeah. So that's you would say for the average guy or gal wanting to get to the middle tier, they're probably gonna have to put in about that amount of work or so to get there.
I think if you do it in a pretty focused way, you can probably do a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're going to have to put in a fair amount of work and some thought to get up to that middle tier. And I would also really recommend, if that's your goal, there's a website, a StimHack website, which most people don't use anymore because the StimHack Slack is and the Nisei website is kind of taken over that. But there are some really good articles on the old StimHack website about, how to think about how agendas flow in the game, from R&D into HQ into remotes, into archives if they get trashed or if they get scored, and where to think about where they are. And there's just a lot of really good articles there, and particularly one by a fellow who was a Bay Area player who's sadly no longer with us, named Noah McKee, which was all about how do you improve at Netrunner, and had a really good set of ideas.
Nice. So you on top of playing, you spend a lot of time reading articles and spectating as well. Would you say you did much of the spectating? Kind of what was your prep outside of playing? Just articles.
Yeah, articles. I mean, back in the day, I would read articles, and then my habit was actually when I was practicing guitar, I would put on Jinteki and just watch games on Jinteki, as well as some of the more famous content creators like people like Bioka, and I would watch games with them commenting. If you can ever find any, I don't know if the streams are saved or what format they were done in, but if you ever find games that, for example, that Dan D'Argenio used to do, and he used to comment on his own games, and he's such a high level, insightful player that it really gives you a good idea. He can just look at the board and just say, okay, this is what's happening. This is where stuff is. This is what somebody should be doing if they're playing. And, that stuff is hugely valuable, hugely valuable.
Yep. And I'm definitely planning on showing some, like you said, STEM hack articles as well as WordPress. There's a ton of articles, and I'm planning on reading them myself and then sharing them with some of the newer players on this channel. Because if you're going to show others, you got to know it yourself. So it's kind of motivation for me too, as well as helping others. So definitely when you pointed that out, it's something that I've recently realized I need to put in some work in those areas and learn deck archetypes and strategies and things like that if I'm going to really probably take my game to the next level. So thanks for sharing all that. Have you ever played any other competitive card games, or is this pretty much your only one?
Competitive card games. I think this is my only one. Actually, so that's not 100% true. There's one, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was put out by AEG, related to the Deadlands system. Boy, what is the name of that game? I can't remember the name of the game. Yeah, the Doomtown. Yeah, okay. I played it a little bit, but I never really played it, against other people. It was just played it at the kitchen table, and then never got to the point of really playing it competitively out much. So right. Really, in terms of competitive collectible card games, Netrunner is my only game. I mean, I play a lot of board games in general, but.
Yep, same here.
This is
Even though I've kind of letting Netrunner kind of take over the past a little bit, though, only got so much time a week. So, but yep. I still feel like I'm playing board games, So with Netrunner, and happy to play it, loving it. My number one game. What is your favorite board game?
Glory to Rome.
Glory to Rome. Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one. I've never got to play it though. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's out of print, and probably because of a whole bunch of business reasons and personality clashes, the story is, as far as I've heard, that it will probably never be reprinted. But I do have a copy, and in a weird coincidence, actually, one of the people in my game group actually went to college with the guy who designed that game. So it's wow. But it's funny. But yeah, it's a great game, so I recommend giving it a try if you can find a copy.
Yep. So obviously we're getting ready to start playing the Jumpstart Tournament matches for the week. What other formats are you currently playing, and also what kind of led you to be interested in the Jumpstart Tournament here?
So right now I'm mainly just playing Jumpstart and Reboot stuff. I got a little burnt out on the current standard format.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just following all the changes, and I didn't really have as much time anymore to play all the time, and you kind of have to keep up on top of it. Um, yeah, so I think not having the physical cards coming out from FFG, I guess, kind of slowed me down a little bit, and I've kind of moved on to other things. And so it's just easier to do something like Jumpstart when you have time. You don't have to do any deck building or spend as much time thinking about it, finding a good deck, building a good deck, etc.
Yeah, that's kind of the next question I was going to ask, but it sounds like your goals have kind of changed on what you're trying to accomplish with Netrunner. It sounds like you're moving more towards just enjoying the nostalgia and just kind of enjoying it semi-casually at this point.
Yeah, I think if it comes back to having stuff in person, um, I think I will get back into playing a little more. Like I did, it was in Nisei GNK, just before the whole COVID stuff came down, and was kind of getting into that and thinking, oh, okay, well, I'll start doing more of this again. But then, of course, now we can't, really get together for game nights or anything, so can't really do that in person.
Right.
And doing one of these online tournaments like Nisei's been having, where you kind of play all day. I don't know if I really want to do that. I'd prefer to do an in-person tournament like that, or a kind of a tournament like this Jumpstart tournament we're doing, where you play like a game a day or a game a week or something like that.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Green Level Clearance server on Discord?
I don't think I have.
They got a couple of tournaments over there that they run just like this one, where you play an opponent for 2 games each week in Tag Up, and one of them's Netrunner, which they're working from core all the way to Data and Destiny, and they start back over again. And we're about to get to Data and Destiny next 4 week tournament period. They just play Swiss, and another one's modded where all they play System Core 2019 and the Ashes cycle. So it's a limited card pool. I'm playing both of those. It's definitely a something for newer players or people who enjoy the nostalgia and just want to go grab a deck or put something together, for the older card pool. So that's just to share that with you, since you're kind of more into that. If you're interested,
Yeah, nice.
If not,
yeah, I might check that out.
yeah, I don't know if you've seen the Near Earth Hub site, but it's on there for the Discord channel and all. But yeah, so let's see. So at this point, yeah, what you were saying earlier is that you pretty much, if it ever gets back in person, you might pick back up with it. How big was the meta there in San Francisco?
So in the Bay Area, there's a whole bunch of cities that are kind of next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, during the heyday, Netrunner was huge here. Like I think there was a regional here back in the heyday that was one of the biggest regionals ever. I think it was like a 300-person regional, something like that. And then like 2 or 3 years ago, the store championship season, there was like 15 different store championships in the Bay Area, because there's some pretty good organizers.
Wow.
So it's still a decent size. I mean, they still get 10 plus people fairly regularly for game night kits. Nationals was here and was quite large. If there's a regional here, it'll probably be 30 plus people. So there's a pretty good set of players still here.
Nice. That's yeah. Unfortunately, I'm over in northern Alabama in Huntsville area, and whenever FFG ended it pretty much died here. And I mean, that's one of the very small goals of this channel, is I would like to help the community grow once again, and just a hint of selfishness here, to one day possibly have that local meta again here, even if it's 4 to 6 guys or gals, because I never got the chance to experience that here. Never got the chance to experience the local playing competitive card games locally because I didn't get into it really until just in 2019. So
Right.
that's definitely one of the reasons why I got the channel here, even though it's a small reason. There's many others that are more important to me, but if I was to see the community grow again and have that chance, I'd really enjoy it, you know. So
Well, I hope it does happen. I mean, I think Nisei's doing a good job of continuing the game and, you know, making new cards and new content. And there seems like there's a lot of online people still doing stuff. So hopefully it continues to, you know, I think the FFG canceling it was definitely a setback, but hopefully it comes back from that low and comes back up enough to get more in-person stuff all everywhere.
absolutely, I'm feeling the same way about what Nisi's doing. Very, very happy with him. I hope that you guys will get back to, you know, being able to meet again in the Bay Area sooner than later, right? And look forward to hearing how your tournament stuff's going once that kind of kicks back off and everything. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with people about Netrunner? Or oh, I do have one more question for you. What do you think? Even though I know you've kind of probably chilled a little bit on your dedication and everything weekly, what do you think your biggest strengths and weaknesses are in Netrunner at this point?
My weakness is I'm not very patient, so I play faster than I should. I think I'm actually a pretty good analytic player reading the board, and that's all that will go into my strength. I'm pretty good being analytic, figuring out what's happening when I take the time to do it, and I don't rush myself into playing quicker. You know, like I think, okay, I'm going to follow this line, and then I start ignoring what the other person is doing, and I just continue to follow my line, and then I'm like, oh, whoops, I didn't even notice you played that card,
Yeah.
and you lose a game. So that's definitely where I am. You know, if I play slow, I think pretty good. If I play where my brain wants me to play, I'm not that good.
All right. Well, anything else you want to share with everybody, or?
No, it's nice to see new people coming into the game and getting passionate about such a great game and great new content. So thank you.
For sure. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being the, like I said, the first interview. Others will be able to see this interview and hopefully be less worried, you know, that I'm going to act a fool on them or something. So I appreciate you taking a chance and doing this. And I enjoyed learning about you. And now whenever I see Originalme out there, I'm gonna be like, oh, there he is, let me check and see how he's what he's got going on now, you know, and being able to ask if anything's changed with you and get to play with you and feel like I have a little bit of understanding of who you are. So that's what it's all about, you know, building community in the midst of challenging times where isolation is oftentimes the how it gets down because of the COVID and all, you know. So
Absolutely.
yep. All right, Ian, I appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here, and we're gonna turn over to just playing some Netrunner the old-fashioned way on Jinteki, and I'm gonna be sitting over here telling people my game plan, even though it's probably not gonna work at all. So.
Okay.
Yep. See, I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.